This is our training for part of the Tomorrow Movement DNA. So today I'm going to be running us through our Tomorrow Movement very basics of our strategy. This is part of our DNA movement training series, our plan about how how are we going to win. There is a bit more detail about the strategy that will be in subsequent online sessions that you can probably find with a bit more detail about like the theories and frameworks that underpin our broader strategy. But for now, this is like the bare bones version of like our plan of how to win. This is what is lovingly called our Tomorrow Movement Strategy House. It's how we think we'll win. So up top, we have our mission statement. We also call this our like grand strategic objective. So we are trying to win a society with good jobs, great public services, and a safe climate for all. And we're organizing young people all over the country to make our government work for everyone and not just big business. This statement is like our North Star. All our actions are moving us sort of like in this direction. Then we have the pillars of our strategy, and we're going to look at these pillars of people power, political alignment, and political power in a bit more detail, but they essentially guide our strategic choices. And then underneath that, we have our phases. So that's like bound over time, the phases of like things that will happen that are our pathway to victory. We'll go a bit more into detail into that too. And then the last part is our campaigns. So campaigns are what we run to help us move through the phases, and they all contribute to our bigger long-term vision that is our mission statement. So one of the big campaigns that we've run in the past few years is for the climate jobs guarantee. So that one has gone over a long time, but obviously different campaigns, if it's a campaign about the federal budget or a campaign that is about an election, like those will feed towards our building towards our overall goal. To get more into detail about our strategic pillars, these are those three pillars. So these are like three things that we're trying to do to create lasting change in politics. So the first is people. We want to build an unstoppable movement of young people that puts undeniable pressure on our government. That's our first pillar. Our second is about politics. So we want to turn the power of our movement into lasting political change for justice. And that means that we're involved in politics. The third pillar is political alignment. And this is essentially talking about like, we know that we can't do this alone as one movement of young people. There are dozens and dozens of other movements who are also fighting for justice, who have a similar vision for this future that we want to win too. So, what we want to do is create a new political common sense that can unite movements for justice to win a world that works for all of us. What's currently politically common sense is like quite right wing and conservative, but with the power of like a political alignment, a common sense that's held across different movements, we can shift the overall Overton window, or we can shift what is considered politically common sense to be something more progressive. So those are our pillars. And so this is essentially a very rough timeline of what we want to do. And this timeline starts from 2020. We launched the movement just as COVID started in early 2020. We've been growing our movement to try and force political actors to pick a side between like a solution to the climate crisis that creates jobs and that creates a better world for everyone, or big business, trying to make that choice for politicians really clear. Then we also wanted to turn our movement power into political power at the 2025 election and having the youth vote be a deciding force in target electorates. And then after that, which is after the election, we wanted to escalate and win. When we first came up with this timeline, it was 2019 before COVID. And so our movement is also going to go through a re-strategizing process in late 2025 to extend the timeline of this strategy and essentially look at what is the new context, what's the new political context that exists now, and what's changed in the last 5 years that we need to reorient towards. And so we'll be going through that re-strategizing process called re-front loading to extend out this timeline and probably make it fit more into what's like real and happening in the world right now.